everyone and welcome to our group PR43. So today our group will be presenting an ethical issue, which is accident at Fukushima nuclear plant 2011. First of all, here is our group members. First, Muhammad Shafiqil, Izzah Natasha, Albert Ting, Aisyah Shaura, and lastly Muhammad Aiman. Introduction. Fukushima nuclear plant located on area of 3.5 square kilometer in Fukushima, Japan, and it is one of the largest nuclear power plant in the world. What causes of the disaster? In 11 March 2011, Tohoku earthquake is the main catalyst that triggered a tsunami in Japan, which causes a 15 meter of tsunami flooded in nuclear power plant. That resulted the pump that kept reactor cool broke down and made the system overheated and eventually exploded. The consequence of the disaster, the radioactive particles were released to the atmosphere and the ocean. Japan people got higher risk of cancer and about 37 people were injured from the physical injuries. Here's the timeline of the accident. The reactor 1 meltdown approximately 5 hours after tsunami and the explosion is during 12 March. Reactor 2 meltdown during 14 March and the explosion is at 15 March. Reactor 3 meltdown 14 March and the explosion destroyed the building. And lastly, the reactor 4 fire damage during 15 and 16 March.
There were several factors that contributed to this disaster, such as design issues, lack of disaster preparedness, and communication issues. Firstly, design issues were a significant factor in the disaster, as the coastal impermeable wall which we built to protect the facility from hot water was too short to handle the 15-meter tsunami that hit the area. Additionally, the facility was not fully prepared to handle the size of the earthquake and tsunami that occurred. Numerous design and operational flaws contributed to the severity of the tragedy, and the facility was not prepared to manage the size of the tsunami that hit the area. Lastly, communication issues between those involved in the disaster, such as operators of the nuclear plant, the government, and the public, added to the difficulties in controlling the situation and managing the disaster. There were also problems with transparency and accountability, as the government and the operator of the nuclear plant were criticized for not being fully transparent about the extent of the damage and the risk to the public. This lack of transparency made it difficult for people to understand the true extent of the disaster and to make informed decisions about how to protect themselves and their families.
Hi, my name is Albertine Kai. For the issue of ethics, the ethical issues that engineer could have addressed while setting the Fukushima nuclear power factory are ramifications of the position of the area that the factory was placed. This involves looking at the effects of the factory to the people of Japan, and the people could have replied to the idea of the factory. And for the issue of safety and health, the health and safety of nuclear reactors are the first consideration that engineers are anticipated to uphold the safety, wealth, and health of the community. The explosion of the Fukushima nuclear factory caused the relocation of over 130,000 people, while 600 people were left dead. The radioactive substances released to the terrain forced the government to dislocate citizens who were living in the nearer area. And lastly, for the issues of effect towards community and environment, the loss of social connection and family ties and stigmatization of people from the Fukushima area lead to increased internal health issues and advanced rates of post-traumatic stress complaint (PTSD) among the people who were affected after the incident. Children also show more issues with hyperactivity, emotional symptoms, and conduct problems.
Next, I will talk about the solution for the conflict. There are 3 suggestions, which are first by conducting a proper training class related to the nuclear safety. This is because it can give exposure and also experience to the engineer on how to handle possible real-life accidents that could have happened in the nuclear plant. Furthermore, it also can sharpen the engineer critical thinking in making a decision if any emergency or disaster suddenly happen. The second solution is by inventing a strong barrier protection against the tsunami by considering the estimation of the probable maximum tsunami (PMT) using all the data regarding the seismic investigation, geological, and also past disaster before making the design basis for the plant. And the last solution is practicing a safety culture. It is shown that from a Fukushima accident, there is a need of improvement in terms of the safety culture, as most of the staffs are still lacking in information and understanding the risk and the safety culture in the workplace. So from this, the staff can take the precaution step when they are doing their work.
So for the conclusion is, the Fukushima nuclear plant tragedy has made the Japanese government realize the importance of having an emergency plan in place in case anything unexpected and out of control happens. Next, other nations analyze the facts of the Fukushima nuclear accident to tighten control of nuclear power and use the Fukushima Daiichi tragedy as a lesson for themselves. For example, United States studied the Fukushima tragedy in order to enhance the safety and security of US nuclear plant. Moreover, lessons learned from the Fukushima Daiichi accident have focused on preventative measures designed to protect nuclear reactors and crisis management plans. Engineers can learn from the Fukushima accident how to handle its aftermath. In addition, Fukushima accident focused on the ethics, risks and safety culture with respect to the individual and organization responsible for the design, operation and regulation of the nuclear power plants.